Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today I am bringing you a special video in celebration of the 18th of October, which is International Necktie Day. I know you knew that because you are an intentionally well-dressed man and you know that the necktie is an important part of your arsenal of being a well-dressed gentleman. However, it would be fair to say that the use of the necktie has been declining fast in recent years. We're going to talk about that. But I think in recent years the necktie has gone through a bit of an evolution. It is now perhaps seen as being something of maybe an item of clothing which belongs to a bygone era, which has very little practical use, let's be honest. It doesn't keep you warm, it doesn't really do much for us, it doesn't help us with the elements. And it's perhaps now something which is considered somewhat old-fashioned and worn perhaps by our fathers and grandfathers rather than the modern generation. But that trend may be declining, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a moment. Now, the reason why the necktie has been slipping away, maybe into extinction, well, these reasons, if we think about it, it's kind of obvious. I mean, yes, it's true, fashion trends change all of the time. As we look across history, as people have changed styling over the years. You know, originally in the Elizabethan era, gentlemen wore these large ruffs around their neck. I'm so glad they are not in fashion at the moment. But they died away and other things became fashionable. And of course, with the cravat and eventually the necktie becoming how people adorned themselves to show a little element of their personality, that became very trendy. But as ever, you know, you go over the hump in the fashionability of something and it tends to disappear into the rear view mirror. We also saw the pandemic in 2020, which really escalated the loss of the necktie to most well-dressed men. Because quite frankly, most people dressed well to go to work. And of course, during the pandemic period, people did not go to work. And since that period, more and more people work from home. So as a result of that, the necktie has really died off, maybe as we see it as dress attire for people who go to work. Also, dress codes have been going down year on year after year. We hear of big multinational companies, law companies, things like that, which reduce their dress code. You can now dress in any way you like, more or less, to go to work in an office. Whereas in the past, I mean, if we look back a generation or so, men would dress very smartly. They would wear a three-piece suit, a bowler hat. They would carry an umbrella. They would look the part. But in this modern era, things are changing. And something to do with that is the sort of tech industry influence which we have seen impacting on men's style. I guess it all starts with Steve Jobs, who decided to make a more casual look his signature appearance. I know he wore like a black polo neck sweater, but that signaled to people that the necktie was no longer necessary if you intended to ascend to the C-suite in the business that you worked in. No longer were the captains of industry men who dressed from Savile Row. In recent years, international leaders, oligarchs, billionaires, they have become men that we increasingly see casually attired. And of course, this cascades down to the people below them as well, who now want to dress like them, to emulate them, so they tend to go without the tie. But fear not, well-dressed gentlemen, the funeral of the necktie is not as imminent as those figures sound, because things are reversing. Let me tell you that in 2019, the fashion industry tracking sources tell us that necktie sales died off by 6%. In 2020, during the pandemic, necktie sales fell off a cliff, 42% reduction in sales of neckties. However, things are changing. In 2024, the early part of this year, in the fashion industry shows which took place, Prada displayed 49 models with their new outfits. 24 of those models were wearing neckties. It shows that the fashion industry is again taking notice of the collar adornment and including it into their fashion outfits to the world. Also, the fashion retail platform, which is called Depop, I have to check what they're called. Now, they reported that sales of neckties had increased by 31% over the last 12 months. 90% of the people who use that site are under 25 years of age. So it does give us a glimmer of hope that neckties are not totally dead. They are still out there and likely to stage a resurgence in the world of modern style and fashion, which is important. They are linked. So, just to give you the reasons why I continue to be an avid wearer of the collar adornment, the necktie, let me give you 5 good reasons why I choose to wear a necktie. Now, the first reason why you'll find me wearing a necktie on almost every occasion when I'm in a situation with other people is because it elevates my presence when I'm in the company of others. Because wearing a necktie, particularly at this day and age where people tend not to, sets you apart from everybody else. Because everybody else, even if they're wearing a suit, chances are they've gone tieless, they're open collared. The necktie, in this day and age, says to people that you have taken a pride in your appearance. You have dressed with intention when you set out from your house that day. And actually, I don't care what anybody says, a man wearing a tie, a jacket, suit, whatever it might be, you look more professional. You look more elegant. And if I have a choice on how I project myself to the world, elegant and professional are 2 adjectives which I would like to be associated with rather than the opposite, maybe slovenly or casual. So for me, the first reason why I wear a necktie is because it elevates my presence to other people and myself, of course. Now, the next reason I wear a tie is because it is a symbol of respect in this world. Because a man who wears a tie is showing respect. Respect for himself, that's important. I want to look my best. I respect myself. And to do that, for me, part of the whole process is dressing nicely. And the cherry on the cake of dressing well is wearing a tie. It just finishes off the look. Also, it demonstrates my respect to the situation or the people that I am encountering as I go about my life. If I'm going to an event, if I'm going to a meeting, the very fact that I'm wearing a necktie is a powerful statement that I respect you. I respect the situation that I'm going into because I've dressed accordingly. I have dressed in a way which shows me off to be my best. And for you, you know that I'm making that effort. I'm showing you I respect you. Now, I think that is a very important reason to wear a tie. Now, the next reason I wear a tie is because it is a powerful statement of my style. Because whilst most dress codes have become more and more casual, actually, the necktie becomes even more powerful for us as a way of expressing our individuality in our appearance and the clothing that we choose to wear. The necktie injects such an amazing opportunity for us to demonstrate a little bit of colour, some patterns, some textures. Even the style of knot that you choose tells people something about you, and it gives you a ritual that you can do which is comfortable and enjoyable and allows you to participate in that whole process of dressing up. The tie has become, in this day and age, perhaps the most effective way of finishing off a man's outfit with the colours and the patterns, which, let's be honest, you know, a navy suit or a grey suit worn with a white shirt or a light blue shirt, it is benign. It lacks character and personality without the tie. Now, another reason I wear a tie is because it undoubtedly projects professionalism. In this world, this hyper casual world where people will dress down to the lowest common denominator that they can, the tie will set you apart, as I've said earlier. But it sets you apart in a way as if you are a professional and a leader. Let me throw a scenario in front of you. Imagine you were standing outside a room and you were told by somebody, in this room there are 10 men. You have to go in there, and just by looking at them visually, I want you to pick who the leader is, who the professional is, who the person in charge is. And you walk into that room and there are 10 men dressed in a manner of different ways. But only one man is wearing a necktie. I can tell you now, whether you do it subliminally or mentally intentionally, you will gravitate towards that man who is wearing a necktie. Because in our lives, be it in the past or in the present, leaders, captains of industry, champions of state, they have always been adorned with a necktie. And that is deeply embedded in our subconsciousness. So wearing a necktie actually gives us that air of leadership, of quality, of professionalism. And as I said earlier, if you want your appearance to be associated with any descriptive terms, they are the ones to choose. Now, the final reason why I like wearing a tie, and I am doing it here today, is because the tie signals affiliation. It gives us a sense of clanship. It allows us to demonstrate to the world that we are a member of a certain tribe or group of people. Now, that might be a sports club. It might be a school. My first association with wearing ties to show I was part of something is when I went to secondary school and we had a school tie. Now, the tie I'm wearing is the regimental tie of the Royal Air Force, a body which I served for 10 years in my younger life. But now I wear a tie when I'm likely to be in the presence of other veterans, because it shows them that I was a member of this group. And I can see the ties, maybe they're from British Army regiments, Royal Navy, Royal Marines or whatever, but we all have our individual clan ties, if you want to call it that. It is exactly the same as wearing tartan in Scotland. It identifies your family lineage. The tie allows us to demonstrate our affiliation with a body or group of people. And even going down to the people who watch this channel, we have what we call the Nirvana Club. We meet up quite regularly in London, and we even have our own tie, the Nirvana Club tie, which was produced for us by a small tie tailor called Angelo in the UK, and our tie is available on his Diorama website, so that I imagine maybe a wearer of our club tie might walk into a room in somewhere in the world, in a smoky bar in Casablanca or Zanzibar, and across the bar you see a gentleman having a whiskey in that faded khaki suit, and sure enough he's wearing a tie which you recognize. He is showing his affiliation with a body that you have knowledge of. And imagine, just like that, you have the opportunity to cross the room and enter into conversation with a stranger in the knowledge that you have something in common. So for me, one of the values of wearing a tie is not just its physical appearance, but is, as I say, its association with the tribes which I have been associated with throughout my whole life. Be it school, be it work, be it military, whatever, sports groups. If you've got a tie affiliated to a group that you're involved with, I think it is an amazing way of signaling to the world that you stand for more than just the man that you are. You are part of a group, a family, a clan, and the tie shows the world that you're proud to be a part of that. So there we go, gentlemen. In a world increasingly driven by comfort over style, I think you will agree, the necktie remains one of the last bastions for the intentionally well-dressed man, so that he can show that he is somebody who takes pride in his appearance. He dresses professionally for the situations he encounters in life. And also, he not only respects himself, but he respects you and the situation that brings you both together on a day-to-day basis. If you've enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe for more. Ask me a question, drop it into the comment section or send me an email. You can also support the channel by buying me a coffee, or if you'd like to, you can become a member of my Patreon group, the Nirvana Club, in which you will benefit from access to things like our beautiful Nirvana Club tie, extra videos from me, and personal content as well. So, Gentlemen, I want to see you all wearing a tie on the 18th of October for International Necktie Day. I know I will, and if I see you, I will compliment you. Until then, take care, and I will see you again very soon.